day, another exciting day in West Virginia. We've had a lot of exciting days, and it keeps getting better, and we're so happy to have everybody with us today. I'm honored to be here today to celebrate the incredible announcement that Competitive Power Ventures on their significant investment to the great state of West Virginia. Gary's going to be talking about that. We also have with us from the governor's office and from economic development, Vic Sprouse. And we thank Vic for being here. We have Bill Bissett with us on behalf of Senator Capito. We have the West Virginia Construction Trades. We have all of our friends here, West Virginia Gas and Oil Association and the West Virginia Chamber. Have Senator Jeffries with us. Okay. And we have Chris Warner with us. Chris is here. And we have also Mayor Amy Goodwin. Where's Amy? Amy, you want to welcome to the state of to the great state of Charleston?
Thank you. Welcome.
Well, I'm excited to be here with Gary Lambert. He's CEO of Competitive Power Ventures to discuss CPV's forthcoming investment in our great state. It's going to be a $3 billion investment that will provide about 1,000 jobs when all said and done. We're thrilled to have and welcome Competitive Power Ventures to the Mountain State. You're going to basically, when you hear what they're doing and how they're doing it and everything, I think everyone's going to be truly supportive and really excited about this process. And I want to start by a reminder of the challenges that we have been facing and what we continue to face. We've gotten ourselves into an energy shortage in this country. This is a country that's been blessed with so much resources, it's unbelievable. And when we start looking at what some of the policies had been, that started basically after the COVID, everything dove off. When it dove off like that, companies retreated. When they retreated, basically went from about 13 million barrels a day down to about 10.5. Everybody started cutting back. There was no demand for the product. And now we have a total need right now, but we're not getting ramped up as quick as we should. So the Inflation Reduction Act that we all worked on in one form or another, and has just been passed 30 days ago. That bill is strictly about energy security only. And I knew to have energy security, you have to have a 10-year investment. And that means the government has to have a 10-year commitment. So what we did is we made sure that we were going to be able to produce fossil energy using all the fossil resources that we have in the United States of America, cleaner than any place else in the world, but be able to do it and produce it and make sure that we're energy independent. Also, at the same time, we're going down the same path with our renewables. Being able to invest in renewables and the guarantee of a 10-year investment with investment tax credits and production tax credits, which we've never done for a consistent period of time. So the inconsistencies over the years with different cycles of administrations coming in made it very challenging for people to make the investments that needed to be made. But now with the geopolitical unrest we have around the world, with what's going on with Ukraine, Putin's war on Ukraine, what Putin is doing to basically Europe right now by shutting down Nord Stream 1, and the difficulties and the unbelievable hardship he's going to be putting on people all over Europe. And then I was observing what some of our policies were. We were going, it looked like our administration was going around asking other countries to do what we wouldn't do for ourselves. And we were going to countries that basically unsavory records, such as Venezuela produces some of the most filthiest with no regulations whatsoever as far as energy from oil and gas. And you have on top of that, you have Iran being the most prolific supporter of terror around the world. And we were going to talk to them about producing oil. Well, let me tell you, this bill basically talks about us producing the energy that we need. And that's why I'm so excited about it. CPV will be investing over $3 billion, as I've said, in our state to build an 1,800 megawatt combined cycle natural gas power station utilizing carbon capture and storage. Carbon capture and storage has been around. We know that it can be done. So when you have it at the area where you're producing it and being able to, but the reason for that is the credits that we were able to put in. We want our energy to use the cleanest in the world. Well, in that, you have to pay basically to store your carbon. So we increased that from $30 to $50 in 45Q tax credits that we've had for a while, up to 50 and 85. That makes the difference that makes a project like this work. That's the purpose, and that's the reason. Investment's going to utilize approximately 1,000 skilled tradespeople. 1,000. You all have them ready? Oh, yeah. From across the region, bringing good paying and long-term jobs to our state. So with that, you know, when you think about the things that have happened right now. I think 2 days ago or 3 days ago, Vic, they just you all announced the microgrid. And the microgrid is a tremendous opportunity that we have that was done because of these tax credits are able to bring those things. They can finance those things. And with the 10-year certainty of the federal government that's basically involved, it makes it easy to get the financing, or better, much more easier to get those financing. So Berkshire Hathaway, the precision cast parts, Sparks battery. I know you all have heard about the Sparks battery. They were waiting until that bill passed. That bill has passed. They're going they'll be going full bore on that, and that's lithium. That's going to be based on the battery assembly. They have an agreement with the UMWA, which we think is great. I will be telling you this. We're going to be bringing Bill Gates to the state within a month or so. Bill wants to talk about small nuclear reactors. So the state, I think, in their wisdom, passed a piece of legislation that allows that type of technology to be brought to West Virginia. And if you have a coal-fired plant, electricity that's been shuttered, it's a perfect opportunity for this type of technology to move right in. So proving this technology has come full circle, they're in Wyoming building one of these now, small nuclear reactors for that. So we're excited about that happening. And there's another battery you might be hearing about in another month or so, a large iron battery with a lot of capacity as far as storing electrons. And if that happens, it'll be a commercial type operation. It'll be big. We want to make sure they're crossing the T's and dotting the I's now, but you might be hearing something within another 30 days or more. So how does all this good fortune come? It comes because when we work together and you make the investments and you have the ability to do it and you have the technology to do it and you have the willpower and the government becomes your partner and not your adversary, it makes a difference. It makes a big difference. As you know, we're working on a permitting. We'd like to see the permitting project. We hope it goes through. If that goes through, all you're doing is you're cutting down the cycle times, and Gary can talk about that, of where it might be 5 or 7 or 10 or more years to build something. Now you're talking no more than 1 or 3 years. The reason we fashion this permitting cycle around other countries, we don't bypass any of the environmental regulations. We just accelerate. And basically what we do is we simultaneously, if you're building, whether it be a transmission line for clean technology or a new pipeline for gas or hydrogen, you're able to do that now and going to 3 different agencies at one time to get them started. And they have certain periods of time they cannot exceed to get your permits done. That's the difference. And all the developed nations use it. We're the only ones, as antiquated as we are, that hold up things for unsurmountable amounts of time. So that gets us back into the ball game. Without further ado, let me bring Gary forward, and Gary can give you a little bit more information and more detail and what excites him so much about this deal. Gary?
Well, thank you, Senator. There is a lot to be excited about. I'm fresh off a trip to New York City where we were talking to all of the investors and the investment banks that are looking at this sector. And given the IRA, they are all lining up and talking about a wall of capital to bring to this industry, and it's really being driven by the IRA and the certainty that we now have for the next decade around the policies and the incentives to bring forward clean energy. And that's what CPV is about. We want to bring a portion of that wall of money to the state of West Virginia, working closely with government going forward. Unfortunately, Governor Justice wasn't able to join us today, but I'm pleased that Vic Sprouse was able to join with us. But Governor Justice also joined in on our remarks. He gave us some good remarks in the announcement that we have issued today. I must say the reception in the state thus far has been incredible. People are all lining up to try to get this project done, and everybody wants to get it done quicker. But it is going to take us several years, and we have a lot of studies to do, a lot of work to do, and we're going to design this project to fit properly in the community, work with labor during the development process, but more importantly, once we start construction, we're going to lean on you guys to show up and help us get the project online and on time. And it's going to be an iterative process, as the senator said. We're going to work closely with the agencies and all of the representatives here to make this project a reality. I'm going to give you a quick commercial on CPV. We've been at this for 20 years. I founded the company 20 plus years ago to develop clean natural gas projects. We have developed clean natural gas projects. We have developed wind. We have developed solar. We've built projects in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Maryland, New York, all over. Large projects. We have a great reputation. We know how to bring private capital to opportunities like this, and we're bringing that to bear here in the U.S. There's some flyers back there. You can read more about us, but I don't really want to dwell too much on us. Senator wouldn't have invited us here if we weren't credible. So, but again, thank you. And again, a little bit more on why are we here today and why now and why in the state of West Virginia. We talked some about the Inflation Reduction Act, but also Bill 4491 kind of helped us select the state of West Virginia. And I'll talk a little bit about why. I think the IRA is arguably the most significant legislative initiative we have seen in this country since PURPA back in 1978, which really spawned the independent power industry. And I'm a beneficiary of PURPA. I came out of college and I started working on QF projects back in the late 80s. It was passed in 1978, but it didn't really gain ground until late 80s. So I started developing small hydroelectric projects, and the industry has really grown from there, and it has opened up the opportunity for private investment in what was a cost of service based utility industry prior to that. So, but this is tremendous as we look at the IRA and the opportunity now to invest and look at 20, 30-year investments and know that we have some certainty on how that's going to play out for the next decade, and that the incentives aren't going to be there one day, expire, and then come back. So we don't have to worry about timing. Let's just go develop this project and make it a reality. Bill 4491 here in the state helps clear the path for the storage, carbon storage underground. We need certainty there as well as we look to raise investors in that side of the business. They want to know that if they put it under the ground that the state's going to back them, and long term that bill does exactly that. I mentioned we have a lot of technical work still to do, a lot of studies to do. We're going to do that collaboratively. And as our release says, and what Senator Manchin mentioned, at the end of the day, this is a multi-billion-dollar investment, $3 billion, probably higher than that as we start to focus in on the real costs here, and 1,000 to maybe 2,000 jobs. When you look at both sides of the project, I think 1,000 jobs really covers the combined cycle side of the project, but then we have the capture, and then you have the sequestration and storage side, and all of the ancillaries around that. So very exciting, a lot of jobs, a lot of economic development benefits. We look forward to doing that with you. And at the end, we'll open it up for a few questions. But now I'd like to introduce Bill Bissett to say a few words on behalf of Senator Capito. And is that how you say it? Capito. Thank you. Yeah. And we want to thank her for the remarks in our announcement. Thanks.
Congratulations. Thank you. My name is Bill Bissett. I'm State Director for United States Senator Shelley Moore Capito. And congratulations to Gary and everyone at CPV. This is a big announcement. It does involve jobs. It involves energy. It's the kind of announcements we'd love to see in our home state. Senator Capito couldn't be with us today, but she did ask that I share a letter with you for some remarks on today's important announcement. Good afternoon. For generations, West Virginia coal and natural gas have powered our great nation, along with the dedication and hard work of our residents. America's growth and continued success are dependent upon proud energy-producing states like ours, and today's announcement will help that tradition continue. Today, we are recognizing a shift where natural gas produced in West Virginia stays in West Virginia and isn't shipped across state lines to power plants far from our border. Facilitating the generation of electricity within our state is a positive development for all West Virginians and will help protect our homes and businesses from volatile economic factors fueled by reckless fiscal policy and anti-fossil fuel agendas. I'm proud that my work on 45Q, specifically allowing for a direct pay option, paved the way for this project. From the reauthorization and expansion of the credit in 2017 to bring a bipartisan group together over the past two Congresses to include direct pay and other reforms to accelerate project delivery, this carbon capture credit is essential for protecting and growing domestic energy and manufacturing while reducing emissions. This will be the first of what I hope will be several major projects in West Virginia to benefit this bipartisan policy. Through my role as the top Republican on the Senate Environment and Public Works Committee, I have the opportunity to oversee policy and provisions crucial to the development of domestic energy projects in West Virginia. I will continue to make certain that laws remain in place that make projects like this one a reality for our state and our people. The state of West Virginia has kept the lights on across this country, and it's past time that we utilize our resources here at home to generate the electricity that we all depend upon. When I introduced the 45Q Carbon Capture Utilization and Storage Tax Credit Amendments Act of 2020, this is the potential impact that I knew we could make. One thing is for certain, today's announcement was a long time coming. The provisions that make projects like this possible cannot be built in a day, and West Virginians can be certain that I will always prioritize the needs of our state above all else. Sincerely, United States Senator Shelley Moore Capito. Now I'd like to introduce Vic Sprouse, representing the state of West Virginia and our economic development efforts. Vic, you're up.
Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Senator. Senator Manchin and I have been on the same side of issues and on opposite side of issues, and I'll tell you, I'd much rather be on the same side of an issue with this guy. First of all, on behalf of Secretary Carmichael, who couldn't be here today, I just wanted to come and say thank you to the efforts of Senator Manchin. We have a great team of U.S. senators, and certainly the announcement by CPV is very exciting to our state. If you just look back over the last 10 months, you can just tick them off: Nucor, Green Power, Pure Watercraft, Berkshire Hathaway. The list goes on, and I think that you've seen a true shift in this state's ability to attract the largest of the large companies yesterday. We were at a dinner last night with the Senator Manchin's office was at, and with another massive manufacturer looking at this state. Probably someone that would never have looked at this state 10, even 12, 13, 15 months ago. So things are happening in West Virginia. The state's moving forward. We're able to attract businesses with the help of our team, both in the U.S. Congress and here in the state. I feel that we've created an atmosphere that can compete with any state in the nation on attracting that, and certainly we see that today with this announcement. So thank you very much. Thank you to Senator Manchin. And we at the Development Office stand ready to help any company that wants to come into the state. Certainly you'll find that we're going to work closely with CPV to help make this happen, and work closely with any new company that wants to come and locate within the state of West Virginia. Thank you.
Thanks, Vic. Well, you've heard from all the people that are involved in West Virginians working together, and that's the name of the game. The thing that makes West Virginia so attractive with what we're talking about, energy security, which is what the investment or the Inflation Reduction Act is all about, energy security. To be a superpower of the world, you have to be energy independent. You cannot maintain a superpower status by depending on foreign supply chains for your energy. It doesn't work. Like any other thing, we've got so dependent on a world trading, if you will, that supply chains have been interrupted. And now we're all paying the price. Inflation's come in. It's affecting everybody. When we can do what we can do here in West Virginia, I think this is the first combined cycle gas plant in our state to produce energy. I know they were trying to do something up in the northern panhandle, but that did not come through, right? It didn't follow through. But when you think about a $3 billion investment, okay, that's a big job. That's a big risk. They're out there. They're at capital at risk here. Gary can speak more about basically what the Inflation Reduction Bill has done to energize the markets. We've never seen anything like it in a short period of time. This has only been 30 days now. The bill only passed 30 days ago. In 30 days, the investment markets have jumped up to the plate, and they're looking for everything. Let me tell you what's happening. A coal company that was traditionally a coal company and has always been a coal company, now it's not only a coal company looking about investing into the new technologies that they can develop also, that basically spreads their portfolio much wider. That means it minimizes their risk they're taking. They're not riding a cycle of just one. They're riding it all. And they're all doing this now. So there's a place for coal. There's a place for gas. There's a place for oil. If the transition comes, and some people that says, their definition and how we put this bill together, it took us a long time to get there. But the definition was a lot of people's definition of decarbonizing. There should not be a person in this room who doesn't want to decarbonize. There's two ways to decarbonize. Decarbonizing, basically, some people says, well, just don't use any gas, don't use any oil, don't use any coal, don't use anything with carbon in it. That's how you decarbonize. That's not how the world works. Ask Germany, ask Europe. They tried that, didn't work, okay? My definition of decarbonizing is to produce more with our fossil in the cleanest fashion possible, such as what Gary is doing, by taking whatever carbon comes off that CO2 stream off of his gas, putting it in the ground and sequestering it and holding it there basically and securing it so it does not go in the atmosphere. We've done everything we can by producing more energy with what we have in this great country, cleaner than anywhere in the world, and replacing it with a dirty fuel that Russia was like a dope dealer. They got basically Europe on cheap, dirty fuel. It's over. It's not going to happen anymore. But if they don't have something else to go back to, what would you do if you're free, you're not being able to have a job, feed your family? You'll do whatever it takes. I want to prevent that from happening. That's why it's so important for us to ramp up as quickly as possible. That's what this is all about. If you all have any questions whatsoever, you want to ask Gary some questions here, he's here to take them, I'm sure, and he has more knowledge than I do, and he'll try.
We actually, Mr. Lambert does have a flight to catch, so we'll
Okay.
take about 5 minutes.
Sure.
Just to take a couple of questions
Gary, why don't you
here, so-
come on up? So if you have something directed to Gary, I'd love to do it.
Senator, Mr. Lambert, our television station is citing